Acquired Taste Podcast. We are back. It's your boy Tech Daddy. And there's Ben and John.
Indubitably.
Okay, there we go.
I don't even know what prompted that.
I'm just trying to come up with something every time.
I mean, that's fair. At least it keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I support this. I do support this.
Yeah.
Because it's better than like the years prior to this where you had absolutely nothing to say when we started the episode. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's at least something.
And I will be the control and always say nothing.
Thanks, I guess.
Hello, friends.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks for the effort.
Thanks for the memories.
No.
Okay. Don't know who that was last night when we were at the bar that was playing essentially the entirety of Fall Out Boy's first album. Well, first commercial album.
They were in their feels.
They deep in them, man. They were playing that like Bullet for My Valentine. Like, dude, like somebody is
Somebody
like
got broken up with today.
like, dude, like because I think the Fall Out Boy album was like 2005. So like, yeah, like somebody just went back to a time. Somebody was hurting. And that's fine, because I love that album.
You know, that reminds me of a time I was walking through downtown Indianapolis. This is years ago, a couple of girlfriends ago. And one of the bus stops there, it was absolutely packed. So you walk around the back of it, you know, on the sidewalk, but walk around the back of it. And something did not go well, whether it was a proposal, an apology, a congratulations, whatever. But there was a full dozen roses just thrown down on the ground, scattered in the bouquet wrapping.
Yeah.
And everything. You're just kind of looking like it's been there for a little bit.
Yep.
I want the story to this day.
Dude, I've seen the same thing in downtown Chicago. Like, where it's just like somebody just threw them shits on the ground and they were just there. I'm like, ooh. Like, if I was any type of photographer, I would have taken a picture of it because it's like it has this like aesthetic to it. Yeah. Like somebody fucked up.
This was the conflict moment of the Hallmark movie.
Exactly.
This was when Ryan Reynolds went away to get in shape before he comes back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
This is when he's given up on love.
Or when when Bruce Wayne's parents died.
Oh yeah, there's always that.
There's always that. I did not see any pearls.
Dude,
that was pearls.
There's a comment that I have on Facebook, and I quoted you in it. This is like 7-8 years ago now.
I know what you're gonna say.
It's like there are two things in life that are always gonna happen. You're gonna pay taxes, and Bruce Wayne's parents are gonna get killed.
Yeah, and because we were having a discussion about how many more times do I have to see Thomas and Martha Wayne die in these freaking movies. I'm sick of it. Just get on. Like we know.
Right, we get it.
Get on with the movie.
Right.
Either save the half hour and don't do the origin, or make a more interesting half hour.
I feel like this is just you attacking at movies redoing like tragic characters being killed off because you are an uncle and you are Ben. Uncle Ben.
I'm aware. I've made the comment myself.
I think you're just
I'm not a bitch ass pacifist like the Marvel Uncle Ben.
So anyways, welcome to Acquired Taste Podcast. If you are I haven't done the intro yet, so I gotta do the intro. If you're new to our podcast, we do history, mystery, music here and there. This is gonna be a history one today. I believe this was Ben's idea for this one too. So thanks for joining us. If you are new, please give us a like, give us a follow. We do have ads in our podcast now, so because we're trying to recoup some kind of revenue at some point.
Getting that Dr. Scholl's money.
I mean, somebody's paying it. I don't, because the ads are randomized too. I've only heard a few of them just when I was testing it out to make sure it was actually working. So yeah, there's going to be 2 ads in the beginning of the video, or the audio. I'm sorry, it's not in the video. So for YouTube, they don't put ads in it yet because we haven't hit that many. That much
they don't give a fuck about us.
Not yet. But on Spotify, though, so if you're just listening to us like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you're listening to us at, you're going to hear 2 ads in the beginning, 1 at the end. So that's new. But, again, this isn't necessarily cheap to run. It looks like it's cheap.
Yeah, you would think
it feels cheap.
You would think based off the number of podcasts that exist that they just give this shit away. Not true.
They do not. Yeah, not every jackass can just go and get a mic. I mean, you can.
Yeah. They can.
For money.
We did it.
100%. Oh, well, I'm glad that we've never been one of those podcasts that do the bullshit like, oh, well, here's our opinion on women, or like here's our opinion on dating, or all that bullshit. Like we avoided that trap at least.
Well, yeah.
And we just do
so far.
Yeah, we don't do a current event.
Yeah, we don't really touch current events.
Yeah.
But so if you are new, we appreciate giving us a listen to.
Inspired by current events.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
So yeah. Again, if you're new, we appreciate giving us a listen to. Stick with us. We do a little bit of banter at the beginning of every episode, kind of gets us warmed up, and then we get into the topic. If you are a returning listener, thanks for sticking with us all these years. We've had a lot of new listeners lately, so if you are new, make sure you're following us. Make sure you're rating us wherever you're listening to us at too. That really does help us out, and leave us comments as well. Because I do read the comments. I have some of the ones from Spotify pulled up because it's been a while since I've actually gone through the comment section. I want to read this one off, but I feel like DJ and B need to be here because it was about something we asked about. If we were D&D characters, what would our class be?
Oh, okay. Yeah, they should be here because I won't really be able to react to that.
Right. So yeah, I'm gonna save that one.
No disrespect, just wasn't my jam.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, whatever.
Oh no, I meant for the listeners.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not. I don't really give a shit, but
I will disrespect that man until the cows come home, and not that he'll know when the cows come home.
He might hear them.
He might.
Anyways,
my dog sees better than him. She's blind, people.
Yep.
Sad puppy dog noises. She runs into walls less frequently than DJ.
Which dog of yours is blind?
Allie.
Really?
You didn't know that yet?
I never noticed that.
She's diabetic, and
she's got the beatus.
She's got the beatus.
We say that like she's very fat. Like she's
not.
No? She's not. She just has diabetes.
Well, that's just with humans. I mean, you can be in pretty good shape and still have diabetes.
Or Wilford Brimley.
That's true.
You can be in shape or Wilford Brimley.
That's a setting also.
It's true. It's true. So, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that she was blind, though. She seemed mostly fine. I mean, she didn't really move much.
She's mostly fine, other than the eyes.
and the betis. And the sugars.
And the insulin level.
She gets around just fine. Every once in a while, we find out where the walls are.
Well, I've only met your dog like twice. So, I just never...
She's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's good dog.
Hey, we all have those days, and she just has those days more. Boom.
There it is. So, if you're a returning listener, we appreciate the support through all these years. Again, we have a lot of new listeners now, so make sure you're following us on social media. I've been posting there a lot more than I used to. Just trying to keep that going. And also, again, make sure that you're following us on everything that you're listening to us on, and then give us some ratings, give us some follows. It really does help us out. And honestly, I think that's part of the reason why we're starting to get more listeners is because the audience has grown. Like, it's starting to spread again, which is great. So thank you if you are a new listener. Thank you for the support that you've been giving us too. And normally we do the forehead kisses. None of us here are going to do that. No. So just know that mentally, though, we kissed your forehead and we think that you're great.
I just thought of a great band name because you said spread.
Yeah.
Audio Rash.
I feel like that's like an 80s grunge or 90s grunge band.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah,
fan base spreading.
Yeah. Our we never decided solidly on a name for our listeners, so I'm not going to even speculate on that today.
Oh, that's
Tasters.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Thank you.
I don't like
That's
that.
one of the ones we were workshopping though, because we actually did have a chat about this. I think it was myself and DJ. We were talking about it one day, and we were. I think that. Oh, and B.
That's a good question
because I think B used Chat GPT, and that came up with one too at one a while ago. So I'm not sure what it would do now, but I'm curious to find out. Maybe one day. It's fine.
So random note.
Yeah.
And this look. You mentioned Chat GPT. I got really bored the other day, and I had 2 Chat GPT conversations going.
Okay.
And I told one to.
You need a roommate.
I was very bored.
Start dating again or something,
and
man.
so,
Fuck, I don't know.
You can come over sometime, John. I'll hang out with you.
On the one, I told it to switch the roles and to act like I was a Chat GPT, and so it would ask a prompt, and I would just copy and paste it into the other one, and I kept doing this. It turned into a barbecue-themed religion that then became a...
So the South.
Smut novel.
So the South.
I had only planned on doing this for 5... Oh, I just lost everything.
Did you? That was weird.
Whatever.
I can still hear you.
Now I can hear again.
I can hear you just fine.
Everything just went bloop. Anyways, I can hear now again.
Sometimes that would happen to mine.
Oh, sure.
So
Please consult our ad revenue
Yeah, right. So we can get better equipment.
and an in-window AC unit.
There are 3 fans up here because, like, since our mics are directional, I'm pretty sure like this will never be picked up in audio. But there are 3 fans going at the same time. I have my little desk fan for myself, and there's 2 fans over there.
They're doing God's work.
They are trying their damnedest. They're trying their fucking best, man.
Anyway, you were saying, John.
yeah, I only planned on doing this for about 5 minutes until it started getting into like the smut and religion portions of it. Flavor Town is basically Mecca.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Guy Fieri was very heavily involved.
Again, I'm not seeing any problems here so far.
No, it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's about right.
At any point were you labeled suicidal by ChatGPT? Neat.
This is a reference, obviously, to another episode that we've done where John accidentally marked Ben as suicidal on Facebook.
Heavily accidental.
They did
being
talk
fair.
about a sacrificial brisket.
So the Hindu population's 0 in this.
Oh, yeah, that is not halal. So... it's not happening. And I don't know why I said that's not even Hindu. That's Muslim.
I knew what you meant.
But you know what I'm going for. I have to correct that before somebody in our comments was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I know religions, I swear.
They came up with hymns and everything. It was great.
You should just start running with it, honestly. I mean, we could use a new religion right about now.
You could make a cult. It's easy.
It's really not that
I've
hard.
seen some documentaries.
Indeed.
We should each ask ChatGPT to make a religion based out of us.
We need to do an episode on that Wild Wild Country one, the documentary on Netflix. That cult in Oregon. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it before. Well, amongst ourselves.
We'll put it on the list.
Yeah, we need to do an episode on that.
You have access to the list.
Oh, I know. I will.
Add it on there. I've added like 5 new things, and then we also have the listener recommended ones too. We need to start knocking those out again too. So we did one recently enough, but we need to. There's like 7 now that I've gotten because like people just message me directly. Like, hey, you should talk about blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least I do write it down. But yeah, also for those that are listening, if you're new again or old, whatever, if you have any suggestions for the podcast, what we should cover, you can actually reach out to us either via the website, so requiredtastepodcast.com. That emails directly to us, or you can find us on all social medias at Required Taste too. Just send us a DM, slide in there, and we'll add it to the list of things we need to cover. Because we only do 1 episode a week, it's we have the list is ridiculous of things that we need to cover. So I honestly I wish we could do 2 episodes a week. That'd be
we can find a way. We just have to brainstorm it.
Yeah.
You and I are starting new jobs.
That's true. Yeah, I'm no longer unemployed, by the way. So that's something.
Yeah. So the last month or 2 have been a little crazy for you mostly, and then I as a follow up, and John's been missing.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's true. We do have a comment, by the way, on the dark something dark side. John still exists.
I like to go on prolonged adventures.
Okay.
And I don't tell anybody.
And you wonder why your dogs don't respect you and do the same thing.
They stopped doing that.
One's blind, of course. The Avengers cease at eyesight.
That's about right. Even though it's funny thinking about, like, because when you mentioned the Avengers, I thought about Hawkeye. But then, like, if you ever read the Old Man Logan comic book series, Hawkeye is blind in that part of the series. It's really great.
Yeah. No. I remember. That's like one of the few comics I've actually read beginning to end.
Old Man Logan. It was only like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
It was issues. It was just freaking good.
It was good. It was good.
Really, really good.
And I was teased with a symbiote infused T-Rex.
The symbiote T-Rex needed more fucking FaceTime. Like, we needed more of that. Speaking of eyesight, though, so I have new glasses, and I finally got like sunglasses with my prescription. I've never owned sunglasses in my life, so this is a new life for me. And so I got new glasses, and then immediately after that went shooting with Ben.
As one does.
It was
you had to calibrate the eyeballs.
I did something. I hit something.
Oh, I hate that place.
So we were trying to figure out, because like obviously like you go to a range down south,
a private range, yeah,
right, which is great. I can't wait to check it out myself. After the safety course and all that good stuff, can't wait to check that out. It's gonna be a great time. But until then, though, our only option up here is shoot point blank. Now,
how did I describe it to you first? when we first got there.
I believe a hellscape.
No, there was a very unique term that I used.
Yeah, I thought it was hellscape.
For us.
Refresh.
John would be involved John would be included if he was there. But
please refresh my memory.
Mos Eisley.
Oh yeah,
Scum and villainy.
Yeah, you did say that.
I hate that place. Point Blank, or formerly Point Blank, Range USA. And yes, I hate that place so much. I still don't understand how you have a minimum requirement for a paper target, a minimum distance requirement. 5 yards. 5 yards. And then you move it 2 friggin' feet because you have some sort of power trip because you're wearing a red vest. And you could easily be confused with somebody working for the theater. But for some reason, you are having a power trip.
I actually respect theaters workers more, actually.
I do.
They have a much harder job.
They're doing more. I'm yet to know of a one of those RSOs that actually prevented something from happening.
Well, it wasn't too long ago that they had somebody get shot like in their range.
Oh yeah,
it was like a year or two ago.
Oh dude, they've had multiple people.
Yeah. What?
They've had multiple people.
Did they forget which way to point?
No, yeah, apparently up at your head is not the great direction.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Was that the intentional one?
No.
Okay, because I forget if they had an intentional. You had to remember, there's a ton.
What did Luke Skywalker do with a lightsaber?
Scum and villainy.
That's fair.
Immediately at the head.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that never noticed it, go back and watch episode 4. Luke looks directly down the barrel of a lightsaber when he gets it.
Is handed a weapon and points it at his head.
Yeah.
It could have been a real short movie.
It was such a short movie.
I distinctly remember being handed a gun the first time, and I knew not to do that. Like,
yeah, the business end. Yeah,
like I knew not to do that.
Side note: I would have loved that for that to happen, and then like Yoda shows up as a Force ghost and just be like, "Really?
You're lucky there's another."
Like Obi-Wan, the fuck?
You've been watching this kid for how many years? You get involved for 3 minutes and dead.
Go find a sister. What are you doing?
Oh my lord! Range USA is such an annoying place.
Well, and that's what's really unfortunate. Is like there's only that, and then there's the other range and
Debs. Yeah, let's talk about that. The downstairs proctologist, where you sit on top of a range, an active range, and your ass is waiting to meet God. And I'll never forget the first time I was there. And everything, I'm sitting and like I can tell the range is underneath me, but I can't tell like the orientation of it. I just hear the
it's actually pretty good. That's sound wise, that was pretty accurate.
Yeah, and from below you, but you can't tell, northeast, southwest, and everything. And then me being the the compass reader that I am, you go down these stairs that definitely need to be inspected, and go around the corner and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I turned 180 degrees, and that puts the seats there. And John, the bullets are impacting there, but my ass was up there.
Gonna get real comfortable down there.
And as I explained to Aaron at the range, an eighth of an inch of movement at the muzzle translates to 4 inches of movement and 25 yards. It doesn't take a whole lot to have, a high-speed colonic happen.
Well, so they do
with lumber.
They do take the precaution down there of
flashing the lights. Because I'm getting there.
They keep the paper at least 5 feet away, 5 yards,
obviously.
Away
obviously.
So that prevents bullets from going up.
Are you trying to make me stroke out? Because I feel like you're trying to make me stroke out.
Bullets can't go up if 5 yards.
I will never forget the first and only time I was there, and when something happened and they started hitting the ceiling, because that shit happens on fucking live ranges, because somebody has been shooting for 20 years. It's right next to somebody that's been shooting for a whole day, and everything. You have everybody, and this isn't to discourage anybody from practicing their Second Amendment rights. It's yours. Go do it. But when you're safety program is akin to a substitute teacher getting a class under control, i.e., flashing the lights, there's an issue. People's asses are on the line, literally.
Yep.
And point blank can suck it too.
There we go.
What else you want me to talk about?
So remember our conversation about actually, that was something I was going to bring up. So thank you for that.
Wait, what's that?
I was going to actually, I had this something I was going to bring up. I forgot I needed to look at the comments on YouTube because we get more of those than anything else.
Oh, okay.
So remember the conversation we had about meatloaf?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ashley likes meatloaf, by the way.
The Ashley I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, when
I bet it's her mom's though, right?
It might have been.
Or did she just say it in general?
Oh, she just said she loves some meatloaf.
Meatloaf
I mean, she probably makes some pretty good meatloaf.
Yeah, see,
honestly.
John likes meatloaf.
Meatloaf is fantastic.
Okay. I wish DJ was here.
I don't.
Okay.
Why?
I cannot stand meatloaf.
They were
dude.
very against meatloaf.
Can't stand meatloaf. And it's funny because we were out to eat. I think we were out to eat, and the meatloaf topic got brought up, and we're like, man, we're pretty sure that Ben loves meatloaf. We get on the podcast. So Ben, what's your thoughts on meatloaf?
No, I like it. I mean, again, it's my mom's, so
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's part of the issue. My mom didn't make good meatloaf.
Yeah.
In my opinion, my dad loved it, but I couldn't get behind it. Mm-hmm. Well, like my mom does. My parents don't eat beef or my parents don't eat beef or pork. So
I didn't know that until that day.
yeah, I grew up not eating beef and pork essentially until I got older, and obviously I moved out when I was very young, but still, yeah, dude, I had a. That's why I still to this day only really eat chicken, turkey, and fish. Mm-hmm. That's just what I'm used to. But I mean, I'll still take down a good steak. Though, I mean, don't get me wrong.
I would say I feel like that's also what makes you so experimental with food.
It's true. I didn't have a lot of it growing up.
Yeah,
we didn't have that many options, and we were poor, so
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but no, it makes
those options were very thin.
I'll say it makes sense though with how you look, review restaurants and whatnot, and you know this place, that place, this place, that place.
True. Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
I do have a lot of opinions on food. You have a lot of opinions on a lot of things. My opinions are strictly about food.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of opinions.
That's true. That's why you're on the podcast.
Oh mother, there were a lot of. I was behaving because you were there, and that was your first time. But man, I wanted a piece of that guy. I wanted a piece of that guy. And
so,
I know I shot too fast for his liking because I looked over my shoulder when I was taking the mag out or switching mags and everything. I looked over my shoulder for no reason other than I could just tell I was being looked at. That mammalian sense that you have that you're being watched, that we all have.
Yep.
And it was triggering in my limbic system. And everything. The caveman brain was going off, and I look at that son of a bitch smirking at me. And I know he's going to say something. I was wrong, but I knew he was going to say something about how fast I was shooting. He wanted to. He was scared. Cowards!
So as I'm putting rounds down range, in between the shots, I just hear this grumbling in the background of Ben. So pow, man, these son of a pow, man, these motherfuckers. Just the entire time, it was quite the experience.
I was okay. I was keeping it to myself until he came over and tapped me on the shoulder and moved the paper target 2 feet to make for their 5-yard minimum rule on a paper target.
You could have killed somebody.
I could have. I could have. I promise you, I could have. But these are the risks you take when shooting paper targets.
Obviously,
jackass.
Within 5 yards.
As soon as that red vest goes on, just all common sense just leaves them and just start John Wayning. You can see it in their fucking stance and they're walking. Oh my god, I hate them. Hate them so much.
I had a rifle competition I shot at, and there was this person there that was talking mad shit. Not necessarily shit, but they were like, I'm an influencer, and I was like...
I would say that's mad shit.
Dude, if you ever hear somebody start off a conversation with, I'm an influencer...
They're like,
they're not.
I have a pro 2A Instagram, and I'm just like, yep, cool.
Can't you just get one of those by paying for it?
No, Second Amendment.
I'm sorry.
2A.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just the...
Yeah.
The fast
way. I see what you're saying. I understand that.
It's just a fast way of saying it.
I get it.
During the stress shoot.
Oh, boy.
Big old goose egg. Did not hit a goddamn thing. And I didn't care how I did. I was so happy. I was like, I could have gotten 1 and I would be happy right now.
Yeah, if you ever hear somebody start off the conversation with, I'm an influencer, I just immediately just start zoning out whatever the fuck's going to come after that. It can't be anything good.
Usually I'm a blank, because if you're just introducing yourself based on what you do.
Yeah, what you are and not
what
who you are.
what you are, that kind of thing.
Like you start with the name usually.
Yeah, you're shit at whatever it is. I don't care if it's shooting,
right?
Real estate or anything.
Yeah, usually I start off with my name. It's usually how normal people introduce themselves. Just me.
I start off with, I'm better than you.
It was funny. Like I was watching Parks and Rec earlier, and it was the episode where Ron Swanson's at the Lowe's.
I was kind of happy about it because
like I know more than you.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about the one I walked in on.
Oh yeah, when he was having a cookout, people kept complaining, so he just packed up the car and took the grill with him.
Because I don't watch it, but I did forget to say down there, I was kind of happy that that's the one you were watching, just for the fact I've seen that in I don't know how many meme formats.
Oh sure,
so like I had some frame of reference, and then the Lowe's one too.
Yeah, that show's fucking hilarious. It's better than The Office. I will fight any of you guys. I don't give a fuck. Like we can throw hands about it because The Office is not nearly as funny as Parks and Rec. And
I just don't think it's
that's
funny.
a hill that The Office is really not that funny.
I don't think so.
It's really not that funny. It's
Steve Carell has been funnier.
Oh yeah, I enjoy him as an actor.
Yeah,
I think he's a fantastic actor. But yeah,
let's hear it, John. Let's hear it.
I like The Office.
You would.
I think it's pretty funny.
We can throw hands outside.
I'm not saying I never really got. So I know of Parks and Rec. I've seen a little bit of it. I've never committed a lot of time to it.
You should try.
And not because I'm saying it wasn't good. I just TV shows in general. I don't commit a whole lot of time and energy into.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
sure. There's too many choices and everything, and I just end up avoiding all of it.
I just end up on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, yeah, I just
like I was telling Aaron, I honestly just kind of I think subconsciously, but avoid the TV shows that are work based, like the camera following you around kind of stuff and everything, where it's just like, why are we doing this? It's very much an American thing that I'm just not signing in or signing on to.
I ask myself that question every day.
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this?
It's a great question.
Was that the first or second time you vomited today? You were asking that.
Oh man! All right, so we should probably get on to the topic because we are 27 minutes into the episode. Woo! And yeah, we have. Hey, it's going to be a short episode, anyways, but still.
We talk a little bit we say 20-ish minutes.
I used to say like 15, but
15 to 20.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ben, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, sure.
I guess
this is going great.
You know what? Just call the episode.
Yeah, fuck it. You got a half hour out of us. It's hot up here, anyways. It's fine.
Fuck it is. Send help. Don't send the guy in the vest, though. Yeah, we're talking.
You gotta have your computer 5 yards standoff distance.
I will shoot the computer. Just a bitch about it. Yeah, we are talking about originally the meeting at Jekyll Island, Georgia, that led to the creation of the Federal Reserve. But as a whole, we're talking about the Federal Reserve's creation and more or less what it did in its early years. So I'm gonna try to handle the pre-Fed financial landscape here. Before 1913, the U.S. operated without a central bank, and it was talked about all the way back at the beginning. Alexander Hamilton was the one kind of spearheading the need for a central bank.
Yeah, and they tried twice before the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah. God, the years escape me though. Like as early back as 1806 was at least one of them, and so you had Thomas Jefferson and his faction staunchly against it, and then Hamilton was a Federalist, and yeah, they were the ones for it. They wanted to. This is where it gets interesting because they wanted to mimic England and the Bank of England.
Yeah,
because as much it gets lost in the translation where it's not that we necessarily hated the English and everything. It was we hated England having their boot on us. There were not agencies, institutions that England had that worked, that the colonists drew direct inspiration from and everything else. But so it wasn't so much that they hated everything about England and wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just wanted the boot off your neck.
Yeah, you threw the tea out with the bathwater.
Exactly.
And you literally just the whole taxation route representation thing was the biggest problem.
Exactly. And
I think it, because at least from my perspective, I saw that it literally just came down to that, because like the centralized banking system, it wasn't even England's idea. It started with the Danish.
I would say it goes as far back as 1604 with the Netherlands.
Yeah.
If I remember right, 1604.
And essentially, England were like, oh, that system works. And so they adopted their own. And then they talked about it in the US, and they were like, England has that. Fuck no.
Yeah. Well, half of it. And but also so the Jeffersonian side of things was more of just, again, Hamilton was a Federalist. Jefferson was of the I mean, you could call them anti-Federalist, but it wasn't really a cohesive group. Where they were just anti-centralized power. Yeah. And finances is a way of achieving that that centralized power. So they were against that, the anti-Federalists. One day we're going to get into the Federalist Papers, and I can't wait for that day.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of like leading into it. I'm like, are we just going this route? Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Well, I mean, it is Independence Day time and everything. And I was supposed to make mention of that, and June just went by, and
which is ridiculous. I was unemployed for all of June. I don't remember half of it.
Yeah, so there was all sorts of stuff I wanted to do for the podcast leading up to the 4th of July, and that's not happening now, so that's on me. So maybe
this episode I think comes out after the 4th anyways.
It should.
So there's that.
It should. So anyway, we'll talk about the Federalist stuff soon, hopefully soon. So all the way back to Hamilton, they were talking about this. The U.S. banking system was highly decentralized, comprising of thousands of small independent banks, fragmented structure combined with a monetary system that lacked elasticity, left the nation uniquely susceptible to recurrent financial crises.
Essentially what it kept coming down to is I didn't realize it was happening as frequently as it was.
Yeah. Not something we learned in school.
Yeah. No. It was essentially of one bank would start to have problems, and so everybody would fucking yank their money out of that one, and that bank would crumble.
That's called a run.
And, then...
for them.
Yeah. For them. And then people in other towns would hear it and think that this is a much larger issue. And so even healthy banks that were doing just fine would get fucking wrecked because of word spreading and because we are chaos.
Because humanity has done the same thing for the entirety of its existence.
Yeah.
And
panic.
And basically the late after the Civil War and leading up until 1900, it was happening every 6 years or something like that, of just and reset the economic market.
So I didn't think about this till just now. But when the hell was the Secret Service even founded? Because that was directly for counterfeiting, and I mean it's somewhere in the Civil War era because Lincoln established it. And everything. Or no. He established it the day he was assassinated.
Did he really?
I thought it was right before that.
No. I think he established it the day he was assassinated because they weren't protecting the president yet. The army was.
Right. The army was.
And it was a single soldier that was with him at Fort Cedar when he died.
Yeah, he was assassinated before.
Was it?
Lincoln was assassinated April 15th of 1865. The Secret Service was founded July 5th of 1865.
Maybe they were about to sign over the protection duties then. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Should have signed it faster.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because there was something related to them that was within a 24-hour period.
Sure.
There's some sort of irony about Lincoln's assassination and the Secret Service. But either way.
But it was the same year, so you're probably onto it.
Yeah, but either way, not the point. The point being, there wasn't a serious concerted effort even. Well, let's call it a standardized effort until the Civil War for counterfeiting.
Yeah.
Or just after the Civil War, really. And everything. So to your point, that's all I was trying to get at. Continue.
Yeah, and it was people would panic, and that's what they started calling these, the Panic of 1870, the Panic of 1873, and it was just I thought it was comical when I'm going through it, and it's you guys are guys, you don't have to call it the panic of whatever. You guys panicked every 5 minutes.
They didn't have the internet yet. Let them have it.
But and which is all the more impressive that word spread the way it did.
True. And it's funny because, like you mentioned before, like we weren't really taught any of this in school. Because when I think about a financial collapse, I think about the Great Depression, which
really
wasn't until after what we're about to discuss now.
Yeah, and really, it
probably wouldn't have been as bad if the reserve didn't exist, is what I found.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
They learned a very expensive lesson.
Yeah. and that's going to happen. But, like, I was also thinking about it because we mentioned, like, lack of internet. I wonder how many of these panics, like, the ones that happened, like, years later, were just the result of information eventually getting to that point and then fucking blowing up again.
I see what you mean. Like it gets to the other part of the country
against itself.
Yeah, it's like some bank in California collapses because some shit happened in New York like 5 years before that.
Right. And then New York happens because they heard California. It's just echoes of the state.
Just a vicious cycle. All right, what are you guys talking about? We're doing great.
Like, what? Why are you guys panicking right now?
And then the other side is nobody wanted to fucking do business with the U.S. because they were like, you guys are fucking nuts.
Nuts, new.
Yeah, like on the heels of the Civil War, especially because at the time you had like you mentioned, like doing business with us. Like there was a lot of countries that were doing business with the South that kind of stopped because of slavery. Bad. So yeah. Other than
but not the good South.
Yeah,
but not the good.
Yeah, they wanted the sausage, but not how it was made.
Exactly.
So, jackasses.
We're talking about cotton and the British and the French.
Yeah, look it up. Well, we haven't talked about that, have we? Ever?
I've talked about the Emancipation Proclamation forcing England and France to stop doing business with the South.
Okay.
I've mentioned it before, but we've never had it as like a topic.
Yeah, they very obviously would have gotten involved in the Civil War in behalf of the South if it wasn't for like everybody being blatantly, hey, this is about slavery, right? And they're being like, God damn it.
Yeah, well, that's...
Put in French.
Yeah.
God baguette.
No. No, you're supposed to say it with a French accent. Baguette.
I'm so German, I cannot do accents.
But no, that's why I get real tired of people saying the Emancipation Proclamation was a useless document in speech. Militarily and policy wise, yeah, they're kind of right. Everything, but it put the onus on these other countries to not do business. Indirectly put it on these other countries to not do business with the South because it made it about slavery. So it was the secondary and tertiary effects of that speech.
Right.
So anyway,
yes.
I never
good fucking points. This is going to be a better episode than I intended. Yeah, so the money, again, we're still pre-Fed, so pre-1913. The money supply, primarily tied to gold and national banknotes, could not readily expand or contract in response to fluctuating economic needs. That we would liken this to the interest rate going up and down and all the stuff that the Reserve controls, or the Fed controls today. The rigidity caused significant seasonal fluctuations in New York City's money markets, leading to cash shortages, interest rate spikes, especially during the autumn harvest season. The ability to adjust the money supply amplified financial distress, transforming localized issues into broader systemic crises. Without an official lender of last resort, which is what the Fed is supposed to be, the financial system repeatedly relied on powerful private financiers, most notably J.P. Morgan, to intervene and stabilize markets. These interventions, while often effective, were ad hoc, discretionary, and lacked public oversight. And also, you get to, not talking bad about J.P. Morgan necessarily, but in a worse parallel dimension, you get to just help out who you want.
Yeah.
Rather than, not saying that fucking government isn't corrupt, but at least it's fucking written down, and you might find out about it 20 years later, but you'll find out about it.
Sure.
Yeah, it was, corruption was still happening. It's just, it was happening at much more local levels, and it was harder to really do anything about it. If some rich guy came in, fucking bought out the bank, and he could do whatever he wanted with it, and there was nobody to hold his feet to the fire or to say like, hey, you're breaking XYZ law.
It's impossible to not think of Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, honestly,
the entire time.
Like you can think about whenever I think about J.P. Morgan, I think about Scrooge McDuck, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But and actually in reference to that too, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever watched the show. I'm sure you guys have. But that's twice now, John. What's going on over
First was his, now it's mine.
I'm glad I'm sitting over here, so I'm not being attacked.
First the wasp, now this. What you want?
We'll fight.
Again, backyard's open.
5 yards.
So
let's do a podcast duel. They have wax bullets for this, for modern day dueling.
Fair enough. Okay, then yes.
It's actually a sport.
Then yes.
Yeah. Let's do podcast dueling.
Yeah, let us know if you guys want us to do this. We'll film in my backyard. It'll be great. Leave us a comment about it.
This is how one of us dies. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So anyway,
with a handicap.
So in reference to this, like just to illustrate J.P. Morgan's power of the time, there's that show, The Men Who Built America.
I love that show.
It's a fantastic
haven't watched
show.
it in a long time.
It's good stuff.
Love that show.
It was wonderful. It's like a mockumentary, I guess, because it's like the documentary of these people.
It's a docudrama.
Docudrama. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, it's on. I think it's on Hulu still. Last time I checked, pretty sure it's on Hulu still. But
is History owned by Disney now?
Dude, I don't know, man. Disney owns everything.
It might be. That might have been a Fox production.
So yeah,
I mean, immaterial, but
yeah, like it's just look it up. It's a fantastic show, just giving you a really deep glimpse into how powerful these men were.
John
at
Rockefeller,
the time.
Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan.
Ford was in there too for a bit.
Ford's in there. God, there's one.
Westinghouse was in there too.
Yeah. There's one in there that I'm gonna be mad I forgot.
Oh, you mean the not the Admiral? What was he called?
No, I don't think it was an Admiral.
Well, because he had the nickname, because he was in shipping.
Oh! I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. Anyway, it'll come to me at like 8:00 tonight, and I'll text everybody.
I'm glad we learned a powerful lesson, and we don't have just like a select few powerful elites maybe running everything that in set industries.
Yeah. So, anyways, it is on. It's actually on Amazon Prime and it's on Hulu. I Googled it real quick. So yeah, that show.
I might do that today.
Honestly, I might fuck around with it. But yeah, it's a fantastic show that shows exactly how powerful these people were, and it actually does give active Vanderbilt. That's who you might be thinking of.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm here to help. Cornelius Vanderbilt. So
proceed, sir.
I'm doing it. But yeah, actually, but at the same time, they're talking about how much money they had. They also equated to today's money, and it's fucking insane.
In like 2010.
Yeah, the show's old. It's 2012
or 20. Okay, I was close. Close.
So yeah,
in 2012 dollars,
it is
because Rockefeller
sickening.
Was 600 billion, I think, in that show. I think 600 billion is what they said.
Something like that.
And J.P. Morgan's the guy that passed him up.
Right.
Eventually.
He did, yeah, eventually. Yeah, so check the show out. Really good to watch. But yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that in there.
No. And actually, for people that are local to us, you don't know how big a deal Carnegie and J.P. Morgan are for this area.
Oh,
when you talk about steel. And Carnegie especially, but
JP, Carnegie Steel.
Yeah, JP Morgan's money was in that too and whatnot, and that built a lot of this area, and that's why I want to talk about the Carnegie libraries one day.
Sure.
And everything. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me for the pre-Fed notes.
Okay, cool. So I like John had mentioned before, there was several panics, all of them at various discos.
Several dozen.
Yeah.
Discos. Yes. So
with dancing, Ben.
Don't do it again.
Or do it. It's up to you, man.
I'll dance if I
want to. This is why I'm doing.
You can leave your friends behind.
I can leave my friends behind.
This is why I'm dueling you.
Fair enough.
Right away.
This is why I'm using live ammo.
You think I'm not?
So anyways, the panic that I'm going to refer to, though, because this is essentially what precedes the secret meeting on Jekyll Island. So the Panic of 1907, aka the Bankers' Panic. was the financial crisis that had essentially opened up the eyes of more Americans to the failures of the American banking system, which of course leads to the Federal Reserve of 1913, which Ben is going to bring us into here in a few. So essentially, this panic was caused, and again, like oddly enough, in reference back to that show, it doesn't go into this specific incident, but it goes into very, very similar ones because this panic was actually caused by the copper market. Mm-hmm. And
it's nicknamed the Knickerbocker crisis.
Yeah,
which is fun.
Which is a fun word to say.
You know, it's fun.
So yeah, and
it's a fun economic crisis.
It's a fun time, you know.
We like to have fun with our crises.
Well, I think as a generation, we don't have a fucking choice. I mean, how many financial crises have we been through as we've been alive?
I do wish we were of a generation that still named things, though.
That's fair.
Like we just it's even our generation just relabels. Like, okay, cool. We had the Great Recession. We couldn't have done better. Just like our movies, we're rebooting that stuff too.
Fair enough.
Could have named it like the Cool Recession,
or the 2008 downturn. Something. Give me something.
Turn down for what?
Oh, that would have been good.
I almost wish I hadn't said anything, Matt.
So going into that, so the copper market, this involved a couple of people that were essentially trying to manipulate the stock market of the U.S. Copper Company. The United Copper Company.
Yes.
Their plan fucking sucked, and their plan failed. So because of their plan's failure, it caused massive losses, which triggered the fear across the financial institutions connected to them. So essentially, every financial institution that was connected to the United Copper Company, because of this failure, again, panic ensued. People started taking. There was a run, like you had mentioned, the term at least, the run, which you had mentioned, and people started pulling money.
And it was failed stock manipulation too.
Yeah.
So there was that side of things because this is you're already publicly. I don't know when public trading started exactly in this country, but
in this country, I'm not sure. I know where it started, but I don't know when.
But yeah, this this is a traded company and so like it's of that era. So it's tied into other things. It's affecting other things, blah, blah, blah.
I will say I like the idea that someone can fail just so epically that it just causes a massive economic national crisis. I'm like, neat.
How old were you for Enron?
Was he even born yet?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that hurts.
Yeah, let me see what year that collapsed.
Keep it going. My liver hurts.
The Enron bankruptcy was in 2001.
Okay, it was the same year as 9/11 or just after.
Yeah, I remember the incident, but I didn't remember when. I mean, there was a lot. Dude, I was a freshman in high school when fucking 9/11 happened, dude. There was a lot going on, man.
Same.
There's a lot to take in.
I was in the 5th grade, and after about a week after 9/11, I was like, can Digimon come back on? Like,
I mean, same.
But I was like, okay, so there were some buildings that collapsed.
You're not a true citizen.
I did love me some Digimon. Though.
Digimon fucked.
I still actually have the little pocket monster you connect the two together and they'll fight.
Oh, where's my sign?
It's fine. It's fine. The shop I buy all my models from, like the models that I build and shit, that's up in Michigan. They actually sell those little the pocket fighters for like $10. Next time I go, I'll buy you one.
I would appreciate that.
I got you, dude. So yeah, back to this financial crisis and the collapse, and it was a dude named Hines and Morse who tried to again manipulate the stock market, and even like I mentioned before, that TV show Men Who Built America, there is actually a stock manipulation in that for I think Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was trying to buy a company that kept making new stocks. To essentially inflate the market while he was still trying to buy out the company. He couldn't buy it because there were too many.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
been a while. I know what you're talking about.
You're gonna go home, put on your one pair of shorts, and watch the show, aren't you?
Damn it, I am.
Hell yeah! Order a pizza, man. Make a day of it.
Well, new job. I start later. Like
make a day of it.
Yeah, my day's starting at 8 tomorrow.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's That's new.
So yeah, order or put on your one pair of shorts, put on the show, and
so I get to have a long night. I always start before the sun. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah, I haven't done that in years. So anyways, so obviously another panic ensued. This caused again mistrust in the banks. So because of the lack of any kind of central banking structure, a collapse was starting to happen again.
Yeah, I heard it was originally the United Copper was tied to 10 banks.
Okay.
And so all of those just fucking evaporated. Now 10 banks sounds like a lot. Then you're comparing it to there was 1,200 in the country.
Yeah.
And this started causing massive issues with most of those banks. Likening
it to 2008, what I kept seeing was that people calling it this was their Lehman moment. Lehman, however you're supposed to pronounce that, but Lehman Brothers.
Yeah,
I remember likening it to that for those of us that remember 08, 09.
Side note, speaking of that, the movie The Big Short, because we were talking about
I have never seen that.
Yeah, neither have I.
It's fucking good. Because we were talking about what's his face from The Office?
Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell.
He's in it. He does fantastic.
Right on.
And I love it. And it explains the...
Oh, you know what? I've seen clips of it.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I did not know that was that movie.
And it explains the crisis, and basically just people were lying about bonds and whatnot, and it was creating a situation to where people guaranteed to collapse the market. Again, one of those fun things of if I'm the one that's doing it, I'm like, neat, I caused the national crisis.
Yeah, we had national crisis. I decided to go back to college that year. It was a whole thing, man. A lot was going on in my life back then. So yeah, again,
I was in high school.
You can leave through the window. I'm not opening it. So
It's hot out there.
It's hot in here.
It is. We need to hurry this shit up, man. I'm starting to fucking perspire. Anyways, so yeah, again, like you said, there was this caused a run within the New York trust companies. The Knickerbocker Trust Company was one of them that was affected, which I think you were starting to mention, Ben, because you like the word Knickerbocker. I get it.
It's a fun word. It sounds very positive.
Yeah,
it makes Knickerbocker.
For some reason, I don't know. It makes me think of shoes too. For some reason, I don't know why.
Sure. So, like I mentioned before, lack of centralized banking to essentially bail them out.
Cobbling. That's why. Yeah. Okay. That's why it's making me think of shoes.
No. Okay.
Cobbler.
Sure.
Proceed, sir.
So yeah, lack of centralized banking was essentially the problem with not having any kind of emergency funds to fix the financial system that was at the time broken. Liquidity ended up drying up, and panic then began to spread across the country. So, like we were mentioning before, J.P. Morgan, very powerful banker at the time. Again, referencing back to that show, which really gives you a lot of detail on how much he controlled, which is insane.
Probably where the word magnate comes from. Honestly,
it's easy to look at this and be like, "Man, thank God we have that billionaire there who could solve this crisis." Because there was no U.S. government to step in and bail these banks out. It was J.P. Morgan. They 1,000% did this for self-interest. Yeah. It was, if this continued to happen, if we did not take the scissors and cut the thread here, then this would continue on, and you would get a Great Depression style thing where these billionaires would now maybe become some millionaires, and that's gross.
Yeah, the problem back then too is talking about how much money he had. I mean, they were able to buy elections.
I mean, by today's standards.
Okay, yeah. No, it caught me wondering all of a sudden, wait, were they billionaires or were they millionaires?
I was trying to compare them to common day things. They would have been a billionaire.
I know they're well into billionaires today.
Yeah,
but I think they're millionaires. I mean, not nitpicking. It just made me.
No,
it made me curious about the facts.
For reference of that, so J.P. Morgan at his estimated net worth at the time of his death, so 1913, was $68.3 million.
$68 million.
0.3 billion. Yep.
Wow.
Which is equivalent now to 1.39 billion.
Damn.
So he was a billionaire, like you said. He would be equivalent to a billionaire now.
Because I knew they were now, and that just made me think don't
when
remember
a house cost you $5. And that was 9 years of your salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Take your hat off, son. That's a $1 bill.
Jeez. I just was curious. I knew Vanderbilt had more money. So Vanderbilt was $105 million at the time of his death in 1877, which is $3.1 billion today.
Jeez.
Yeah. The Commodore was his nickname. That's what I was trying to remember.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So, back to it though. So,
It's all coming back.
again, JP Morgan, a lot of fucking money. He did step in, as mentioned, to bail them out. So what he did was he ended up actually coordinating with all these bankers to inject money into their trusts and to their companies. He worked with the U.S. Treasury Department to backstop the system and prevent an entire collapse of the banking industry. He also
American hero.
so in so many words, yes. But he also
idolize them.
Yeah, you don't wear hats about them. But anyways, so
You got something you want to say, Chad?
Eat the rich. Continue.
And apparently, in order for him to get these bankers to all agree with him, he actually locked them in a building together, which is a fun time. So he locked them into a building overnight until they agreed on a plan to rescue the stock exchange.
Before air conditioning.
The tactics.
It's a bold move. It's a bold move. It's like that church that went viral for locking the doors during tithes.
Oh, God. Yeah.
He gonna pay Jesus his 10%.
We didn't talk about that long enough.
We did not. Jesus need his 10%.
Violence is a leadership style.
Yeah, it is always a
Violence
choice.
is a solution, too, when you're locked in a building. I.e. Jonestown. Get me out of this motherfucker.
So this panic, essentially the fallout of it, the stock market itself did end up plunging 50% down of the year prior. A ton of bankers and tons of banks and businesses end up failing across the country. And it also pointed out again that there was no centralized body to stabilize the financial system if it were to again collapse. So all of these things led up to this meeting on the secret island in Georgia, which I imagine was also just as hot as it is up here.
That's where I was going. Yeah, because actually it doesn't look like I wrote down what month. Oh, no, November.
Oh, it's not that bad then.
Yeah, they were wintering.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm sure it was pleasant.
Yeah, probably not bad.
Probably like 70s.
So yeah, like so the again,
Georgia 70s.
right, it's still muggy. 1907, this panic ended up leading to obviously the National Monetary Commission, which is part of what J.P. Morgan was working on. The secret Jekyll meeting, which we're going to be covering here in a second, and then of course the creation of the Federal Reserve, which we're also going to get to here in a moment. So that's all I wanted to put into that. So. Ben, the rest, you got it?
Yeah, sure. Unless John has something to add.
No,
before. Okay. So yeah, the covert meeting. A highly secretive gathering took place in November 1910, and I just realized I'm reading from the long form. Let's go to the outline.
Nice.
Let's see here.
I did hear that they were trying to be like so secretive about this that they were using like aliases and disguises on trains.
I heard a lot about that too, and apparently a lot. So the conflicting report I got about that was from a new History Channel I just found, The Casual Historian. So I haven't watched his other work, but he dragged FDR through the mud, so I like him.
It's gonna start.
He came off as centrist to me. That's why I really liked. Like, oh, okay, cool, because he was real critical about some other stuff. But usually, I find people that are real critical about things I want them to be critical about, and then put like FDR as on a pedestal. And he didn't, so it was kind of my litmus test.
Sure.
And I was like, okay. And where he pointed out a lot of people seem to be getting their information, and probably people that we were sourcing as well, from a book called The Creature of Jekyll Island.
Yeah.
And everything. And it's got some tentacles and whatnot. It's very ominous looking cover and this and the other.
One of the videos I watched was an interview with, I think, the guy who wrote the book of it. And he was 1,000% conspiracy theory. They sent out there was satanic rituals going on.
So fun note, and if I'm remembering this correctly, I do reserve the right to be wrong, and I apologize if I am. But he sourced a lot of his information regarding that book from a Holocaust denier.
Yeah.
So threw the whole thing up in the air.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, where I was like, I found it literally last minute about what this guy's talking about, the source material that this guy's using. So again, reserve the right to be wrong. Do your own research, and everything, and just on the off chance that guy's wrong. But so that was kind of interesting. Where I was like, it kind of called the whole book into question. I say that about the aliases and this and the other because his pushback was they're basically saying, don't introduce yourself as Mr. Morgan. Just go as John. Use your first name. They were dressed for duck hunting and stuff like that. Just, it was way less.
They treated it like this massive, cult gathering on this mysterious island.
The people talking about it now did.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, if you look at it from an objective, an outside, especially a really high level perspective, it's a bunch of rich dudes meeting on an island in secret. I'm going to think it's a cult.
Yeah. Well, and in reality, it was JP Morgan being like, hey, I don't want to do this again.
And, let's just not have the press involved.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. It comes off as a lot more basic than it was being perceived. So I want to learn more about that book now after the video I watched.
I think it was more along the lines because I don't even it wasn't like Congress told them to meet, and I think they wanted to meet without the press, without the pressure, and just be like, we're a bunch of rich dudes. How can we make a system that doesn't implode again?
And because that's the other thing is
sacrificing briskets.
And because that's the other thing is all of this has to get voted.
Sacrificial brisket.
All of this has to get voted on anyway. So what kind of conspiracy is that? It has to get publicly voted on.
Sure.
So, it was kind of an interesting pushback on some of the other stuff. So anyway, Holocaust denial. No, wait. Secret conclave of Jekyll Island.
Yep.
Same thing.
I do want to learn more about that author now. Just because apparently I'm a glutton for self-punishment.
We should do an episode on just really batshit crazy conspiracy theories, like Holocaust denial,
bad takes.
Yeah.
Like
the moon landing was fake. Holocaust didn't happen. All those, the Earth is flat.
The classics. If we do a flat Earth one, you're not getting me out of here under 6 hours.
Okay. I'll just leave.
I also have a lot to say about the flat earthers.
I will just hit record and walk out.
It's just gonna be me and Ben screaming.
I'm just gonna go and do something else with my day.
Screaming in agreement for once.
I'm gonna go to the beach or something. I'm down the street at the beach. It's fine.
The blueprint for a central bank. Panic in 1907 clearly exposed the critical absence of a central authority capable of providing an elastic currency, quote unquote, and acting as a true lender of last resort. Private interventions like Morgan's underscored the unsustainability of relying on individual financiers for systemic stability. This convinced a new generation of financial leaders that a central bank was essential. Covert meeting itself, highly secretive, quote unquote. Gathering took place November 1910 at the Jekyll Island Club, a secluded resort off the coast of Georgia that JP Morgan owned. The true purpose of this meeting was closely guarded, with participants not publicly acknowledging it until the 1930s. The extreme secrecy was a calculated political maneuver, as any plan associated with Wall Street or a, quote, money trust, end quote, would face immediate rejection. Forbes famously described it as the, quote, strangest, most secretive expedition in the history of American finance, end quote. So stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think
it perpetuated it.
Any meeting of finance people is fucking weird because finance people are weird.
No, right. But if you read the headline and then the headline propagates itself for 70 years, and then this Holocaust denier that's a really easy sell picks it up and writes a book about it. I'm sorry. Inspires a guy who's in an easy sell and then writes a book about it.
It's like hearing about the salacious meeting at the library. They're probably talking about Harry Potter or some shit.
We don't use the word salacious enough anymore.
That's true. But again, though, like this is like looking at some of the guest list that was here. Though we had a senator.
I got all of them by name.
Oh yeah, Senator Nelson Aldrich, Paul Warburg of Kuhn Loeb and Company. You got Frank Vanderlip, National City Bank, aka Citibank. So they turned the Citibank that we know now.
That I did not know.
Yep. You got Henry P. Davidson, J.P. Morgan and Company, which obviously J.P. Morgan Chase is what it became eventually. We got Charles D. Norton, who was from the First National Bank of New York, which aren't they just First National? I could be wrong about that. I should have looked into that one too, but that's on me.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
And they got Benjamin Strong, who became the first head of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
Random note. I feel like it'd be interesting if I'm ever in a situation to where I'm like, hey, let's get a group of billionaires together. We're all going to meet and talk about shit. I'm just going to pick some guy off the street. Like, you're going to come join us. So that way, when somebody goes to make a podcast about it, they're like, yeah, all these people are here. And then there was fucking Craig.
Pictures going down.
Yeah, I think we both saw it again.
Yeah. So you're subscribing to the 9th man theory.
Yes.
Or 11th or 13th or whatever the hell, but
it reminded me of that meme. Like the audio's been going around for a while. It's like, yeah, you guys are a bunch of young, smart African Americans, and Mark. We rock with Mark because Mark is rocking with us.
Just hey, you're gonna give the peasant view
exactly
for this meeting.
Also, last time there was a bunch of billionaires on the island. That dude unalived himself in jail. So, anyways. Allegedly.
Are
you saying Epstein was just the Craig of the group?
He was a financier.
So anyways.
he was a financier that was bad at economics. Anywho.
Yeah, we're going to move on past that, but yes.
Anywho.
Carry on, Ben.
The Aldrich plan. Over 9 days, the members of this conference hammered out the draft of the bill for the Federal Reserve System, which became known as the Aldrich Plan. The plan envisioned a, quote, Reserve Association of America, end quote, a single central bank with 15 regional branches. Its governance was designed to be private, with each branch overseen by a board of directors elected by member banks, and larger banks receiving proportionally more votes. The proposed functions directly aimed at addressing systemic weaknesses, holding reserves of member banks, centralizing liquidity, issuing an elastic currency based on commercial assets, facilitating the rediscounting of commercial paper for banking institutions, managing the transfer of balances between branches and streamlining check clearing, serving as a fiscal agent for the federal government, empowering the national body to set discount rates and buy or sell securities to influence market liquidity. And the Aldrich Plan was heavily influenced by the National Monetary Commission's studies of European financial systems, which were found to be, quote, much more efficient, end quote.
So that's what you were mentioning earlier, how like America was had been copying some of the banking systems that England had, is what you're alluding to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And wanting to from the onset and then actually executing it when the day finally came. Again, Hamilton to these guys. Initial reception and political hurdles. Despite its comprehensive nature, the Aldrich Plan faced substantial political opposition and was rejected automatically in the House of Representatives. If it were associated with Wall Street, I apologize. I missed a word there because I put it in quotes and I am missing a critical word to make that sentence make sense. I think I was going to say would fail anyway, or would be rejected.
I think there was a lot of pushback and a lot of compromise that had to happen because the initial public reaction was they were like, oh, these billionaires put together a plan and obviously they're going to profit heavily off of this. Mm-hmm. And not saying that's entirely wrong, but it was more so of they're on the boat and they're sitting in first class. They want to make sure the boat doesn't sink because that would be bad for the first class.
Mm-hmm.
of you can't have the first class if the boat's gone.
Let the boat sink this way. It was widely perceived as granting, quote, too much power to large banks, end quote, and lacking sufficient government oversight. Its resemblance to a central bank and association with Senator Aldrich prevented it from gaining strong public support. The failure of the Aldrich plan demonstrated that a purely private controlled central bank was politically unfeasible in the American context. And this rejection forced subsequent legislative efforts to adopt a different approach, leading to the unique hybrid structure of the Federal Reserve System. And the original Aldrich plan, Woodrow Wilson even had criticisms on, which because he warned against money trusts. But that makes me support the original plan, because fuck that guy.
Yep. If you're wondering why we say that, go back and listen to the Woodrow Wilson episode. It's actually one of the first ones we did all with, I think, the four of us on it.
Yeah,
and
the first.
Yeah, so go back and listen to the episode. Woodrow Wilson's a piece of shit.
Piece of shit. And if he don't like it, then I kind of do.
I think there was it, and I think you see some of their efforts kind of reflective, even like still today, of because I know like the president of the board is elected by board members, but like the members of the board are put in there by the president, and they have like a 14-year term. And what we're seeing,
the board of governors,
something like that, and what putting it in today's thing of politicians weren't happy with the economy not improving fast enough, and they were trying to blame the Federal Reserve, and they wanted to fucking, I can't remember who's the president of the board right now, but they wanted to essentially fire him, and it's illegal to do so. And I appreciate it to a degree, because he was like, no, we are following the processes, and we are going to do what we think is best financially for the country. And so like politicians were pissed, are like, you need to drop interest rates or this and that. And they're like, that will fuck with the economy up. Fuck you. This is what we're doing. And what they've been doing is slow, but it's working.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it eventually, maybe, but they learned a lot of it very expensive and costly lessons and between 1929 and 2009.
Yeah.
And everything. So, I mean, as long as you stay between those two rails, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I mean, any system is going to have issues. There's going to be an initial design. You're going to build the unsinkable ship, and then it's going to hit an iceberg and fucking sink immediately. There's things to be learned as you're building these things. As long as you're making those learnings and adjusting, you have to make a system that's adaptable and fluid.
I'm smiling because the Federal Reserve is tied to a Titanic conspiracy, and it's so easily debunked, but it's fucking hilarious too.
That's the one with the fake ship, and they use it for an insurance claim.
No, that's different. No? This one, although I think they do get tied in sometimes, depending on who you talk to. Because if I remember right, J.P. Morgan had a ticket
and
on the Titanic, and he didn't go, but some people did, and I guess they were. So the story goes that they were opposed to central banking, and then they died.
Oh, I see.
And everything. But I think if you dig a little bit, like most of them didn't have public opinions on it or something like that. It's funny.
It's really easy to make up opinions and thought pieces of people who died 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Before the internet.
Speaking of which, did you see that there's a Titanic simulator coming out?
Yes, I did.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. And if you go into the comment section on any Facebook post about it, there's these bleeding hearts on there saying that, it's heartless and whatnot to make a game based off of the Titanic sinking. Like, do yourself a favor and don't look into World War II.
Yeah, but I was like, stay off the internet at that point. My favorite part about that was like they said like and this was never official, so this is obviously not if it is in the game, I'd laugh my ass off. But they said the difficulty instead of there being like a difficulty level, it's just like the harder levels are you start off just lower in the ship as a peasant.
Money class.
It's economic.
Yep.
Do you want to be Jack or Rose?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's just like the South Park game, the Fractured Butthole. Like they made it. If you play as a black character, they made the game actually harder.
You think they're gonna have a nude Rose in the game?
You're gonna be able to buy a bigger door.
Nice. Nice.
Level up your door.
Creation.
Yep.
1913. Well, the creation will be 1913. So interim measures and commission findings. In 1908, Congress passed the Aldrich-Vreeland Act as a stoppage measure. This was to inject liquidity during future crises, authorizing emergency currency issuance backed by non-U.S. bonds. The act also established the National Monetary Commission, chaired by Senator Nelson Aldrich, to study U.S. banking laws and European systems. Over 3 years, the commission produced 30 detailed reports discovering how much more efficient quote unquote, but how much more efficient the European financial system appeared to be in providing elastic currency. The commission's final report proposed a National Reserve Association, largely mirroring the Aldrich plan, but it failed to gain public support due to its perceived resemblance to a central bank and association with Aldrich, which is a good point or a good time to bring up. We call it the Federal Reserve instead of a bunch of different things to basically not call it a central bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a name of trickery.
It is a bank.
Yeah, it was it was putting the pill in the cheese for your dog.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was the verbal equivalent or the vocabulary equivalent of that.
Sure.
Legislative journeys and key players. The Democratic Party's sweeping victory in the 1912 elections, controlling the White House and Congress, provided the essential political will to reform. President Woodrow Wilson, yes, that one, made banking reform a top priority of his new freedom domestic agenda, committing to establishing economic stability and wresting control from private hands. The final legislation was primarily shaped by Congressman Carter Glass, advocating for a regionally decentralized system, and Senator Robert L. Owen, pushing for greater government control. Paul Warburg, who we mentioned earlier, played a vital advisory role, providing technical expertise to Glass, Owen, and Wilson's advisors. I'm sure Wilson listened to so much of it. I fucking hate that, man. Intense debates. And also, so federal, it's a good point to point out, the reason you pay a federal income tax in perpetuity, because there have been income taxes before in the nation, but they came and they went. So times of war, times of strife, times of this, times of that, they came and went. You know, the U.S. generally, historically, always taxed goods, maybe the actual services, but not the income of somebody, this and the other. Woodrow Wilson, in this time frame, he is the reason, and this is the reason you have a federal income tax to pay. And then the states would pay the federal taxes as well. Your income would go to the state. Anyway, before I get on that, let's see here. The act established a unique hybrid structure to balance central authority with regional autonomy and public oversight with private participation, directly addressing political opposition and fears of a, again, quote, money trust. Board of Governors, this is the structure. A central governing board in Washington, D.C., whose members are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, providing crucial public oversight and designed to be independent from direct political influence. And actually, it just dawns on me, too, I think Woodrow Wilson's the reason we stopped electing, we stopped electing senators the way that we used to up until him. I think. If it wasn't him, it was FDR. It happened in this era.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Wilson's a son of a bitch. Anyway.
Again, go back and listen to that episode.
12 regional Federal Reserve banks, decentralized regional reserve banks, each serving a specific geographic district. All nationally chartered banks were required to become members and purchase capital stock in their local reserve bank, integrating private banking interests. So, yeah, once a bank is a certain size, it is required to buy shares in the Federal Reserve. Federal Open Market Committee, later established by the 1933 Banking Act. It oversees the Federal Reserve's open market operations and is the primary monetary policy-making body. Primary objectives and the primary objectives and direct response to the 1907 panics, vulnerabilities were, man, it is fucking hot up here. I'm tripping over my tongue. To provide an and to provide for the establishment of Federal Reserve banks to furnish an elastic currency. What?
Just Aaron being like,
Yep.
yeah, it hot.
That's
Yeah, wrap it up, B.
warm. Achieved through the Federal Reserve note and mechanisms allowing the money supply to expand and contract, mitigating seasonal liquidity spikes, which is essentially a fancy way of saying there's more money out there or there's less money out there. So, they pull in, they put out, or print. Well, the Treasury prints, but they tell the Treasury to print.
Ben puts out.
I do. To afford to afford means of rediscounting commercial paper, which means empowering member banks to obtain liquidity by borrowing at the quote discount window of their reserve bank, serving as a quote unquote safety valve to establish a more effective supervision of banking in the United States, meaning granting the Fed powers to regulate and supervise banking institutions, addressing systemic risks from unregulated entities like trust companies. So on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah. Did you have anything in the later part, Aaron? Before I just steamroll through all this?
Steamroll through all this so I can go back downstairs.
Okay, I just want to make sure. John, or were you going to pick up again at any point? Or because I'm getting late into my notes. That's why I'm asking.
No, there was, like I said, there were the criticisms of it being too powerful, and they try to mitigate that with dividing up into the different regional areas. There's a lot of people who, as we're probably about to talk to, criticize the Great Depression as being worse because of the Federal Reserve, and there's some weight to it.
It's decisions of the Federal Reserve more than the Federal Reserve.
Exactly. It was the supply of money was too limited at the time, and essentially they think that made things worse for the Great Depression. And that made the impact a lot worse. And it kind of what I was talking about earlier it's a system, it's things that we learn from, and we at least are still applying those lessons today.
Right.
Things like that have been applied in recently. I'm sure everyone heard about that one bank over in California called what was it, Silicon Valley or
I remember that. Yeah, that happened about 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, where that started causing very similar things to the recession. And the Federal Reserve stepped in and fucking curb stomped that shit.
Yeah, they did. I was at the time I was still working for a bank, and we actually got a company wide email about that.
Yeah, and that was basically the Federal Reserve goes, nope, we've seen this before. Fuck you guys.
Honestly, yeah, it's we've literally seen this story before. You guys can kick rocks. They shut that down immediately because it would have actually caused another run. It would have been a run of a modern age, and that's why. The bank I was working for at the time, they actually sent again a company wide email out about it, saying hey, just so you guys know, here's what's happening. We have it under control. Don't panic. Essentially, is what they told us.
I enjoyed the news articles that were coming out at the time because basically all of them were everyone needs to chill the fuck out right now.
Yep. Because honestly, it was going to be another incident like this.
They were if you pull money out, you're making it worse.
Yeah.
Yep. You're gonna make it worse.
Please stop.
That's the sucky part. Is no matter what we do, no matter what systems we put in place, nothing makes up for panic. No matter what, it is all fragile.
Yeah, everyone's they're saying don't pull money out. But if I don't pull my money out right now, then there might not be money to pull out. And I'm but that's the issue. Stop doing that.
Stop doing it.
You're telling me, it essentially boils down to you're telling me to be calm, not me, myself, but, the whoever, is watching on TV and what have you. You're telling me to be calm. And okay, I want to be calm. But what if I'm the only one that's being calm? And I'm the only one that doesn't have anything. And now the music stopped and I don't have a chair.
And then here's the toilet paper crisis again.
Yeah.
So someone explained it to be hey, if you have 10 rooms and each room has a limited supply of oxygen and there's 10 oxygen tanks, you have to tell them hey, work as a group. You have 100 people. There's 10 people per room. There's enough oxygen to go around. 1 in 10 people come grab a tank and go to a room and divide it up. But people are going to panic. And they're going to fight over those 10 tanks, even though there's more than enough to go around. Then you're going to end up with one room that has 5 tanks in it, and because people are fucking stupid.
It's called Squid Game.
Yes. The new one.
That carousel one. That's what I'm thinking of. The rooms.
Yeah, that was it. It's like there's more than enough for everybody, but it's just people are fucking stupid.
That third season's coming out this summer. Yeah,
I've never watched it.
You should.
You should.
You should. Good. You would enjoy it.
Yeah, okay.
You would enjoy it very much.
It
goes.
The second season started a little on the slow side, but it picked up fast.
Look at what it had to follow.
Speaking of things going, wrap this shit up. I want to go back downstairs. We're at an hour 25. So
hell yeah.
It's about to be a Squid Game up here.
In my pants.
So, the last thing I have is basically how this addressed the pre-1913 vulnerabilities. The Federal Reserve Act directly confronted and resolved the profound vulnerabilities exposed to or by the panic of 1907. By establishing a central bank, the U.S. acquired an institutionalized, quote, lender of last resort, end quote, allowing the Fed to inject liquidity and prevent widespread bank runs. The Federal Reserve Note and the rediscounted mechanism provided the long-sought elastic currency, because I keep saying it, mitigating destabilizing seasonal spikes in interest rates. We still had quite the agrarian economy back then. We had industrial, but the farms made up a much more substantial part of the economy than they do now. So that's why seasonal keeps coming up. The act marked a pivotal shift from precarious reliance on ad hoc private interventions to a system of public institutionalized responsibility for financial stability. The Fed's mandated ability to, quote, smooth the booms and busts of the economic cycle, end quote, and maintain an adequate base of money and credit represented a direct counter to the chronic financial instability of the pre-1913 era. And that is the Federal Reserve.
Cool.
There were a handful of small conspiracy theories, like Fed is privately owned, and while its members are banks that are privately owned, it is a mixture of banks that are all in the same room. And I think their profits, it's like 80% of the profits go into the treasury rather than back to the banks. So it actually goes back to the government. They don't just print money out of thin air. It's a whole discussion between Congress and the Federal Reserve. They did not cause all wars for secret balls of making money. They might.
Oh my God, the anti-Semitism.
Yes.
And all of this. You can't look up anything money related.
No. No, you can't.
Without just, and it's some just anti-Jewish freaking rabbit hole. I'm going to learn about the Fed today. Oh my God.
It's real bad.
It's fucking bad.
I take my notes sometimes and run it through ChatGPT to be like, hey, organize these in better thought into better groups.
That's what I can flow better. Thing.
And
that's why mine look like book reports now.
And then I ask it, I'm like, what else am I missing? And it goes, well, there's conspiracy theories. I was like, no.
It's, oh my God. It would be funny. I mean, it is funny, but it would be funnier if it wasn't so predictable. I guess is what I'm saying.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this bad boy up.
Hell yeah,
because I'm hot. Is what. All right, so if you guys have made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you sticking around. Like I said before the beginning, we do have ads now, so there's probably gonna be one after this. Like I said, there's I think 2 that start off the video, so or the audio. So again, we appreciate all the support. We had to do this to start, actually recouping some funds. And
we want an air conditioner.
Yeah, we need an air conditioner, the required taste air conditioner.
Required air conditioner.
Indeed. So
tasty Freon.
Yes. So if you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate it. Please, like I said before, give us a like and follow. Give us a rating wherever you're listening to us at. Send us some suggestions on what you'd like to hear us do next. Check out our website, requiredtastepodcast.com. There's merch on there as well, so check that out. We're going to be doing a photo shoot soon, so keep an eye out for that. Also, that pigeon needs a freaking name. So send us your suggestions for the pigeon name. We're going to do a poll on that soon, so we'll actually have a pigeon name, and we're going to put merch out for the pigeon. So, whoever comes up with the best name that gets voted on does get a free t-shirt. That's part of the deal. Other than that, we do still appreciate all the support, and y'all be cool.